Welcome to a special edition of the Overruled podcast with your host, Trevor Blanick, and today's co-host, Blake Fry from Gonzaga out in Spokane. It's a very special day. It's Wednesday, March the 10th, 2021. My God, I got all the dates right for the first time in like forever. Didn't even do that right when we were in studio. And we got a little bracketology. We figured if Andy Katz and Joe Lenardi can do it, why not us? Why can't we do it? So we gave our best shot of trying to do a little bracketology ourselves. So I know Blake has his bracket filled out with the seeds and stuff. I just have the seed numbers. So we'll go through where we think each team is going to be. We'll give a little analysis at the end. He's obviously a big Gonzaga fan, number one in the entire nation. They just won the West Coast last night, so they'll likely be the number one team in the entire nation heading into the tournament. I'm a big Colorado fan. I think we're a little underrated. We'll see what happens. Probably going to face Stanford tomorrow in the Pac-12 tournament. I think we're the best team in the Pac-12. That's going to come back to bite me. But let's get into these brackets. Blake, you want to go first?
Yeah, where do you want to start exactly?
We have a little bit different going on because, like I said, I have all of the seeds on lines and you have the entire bracket. So if you want to go through and say your number one seeds or something in like the order.
All right. Well, my number one seeds, obviously I put Gonzaga at number one. At number two, I got Baylor. And then for the third slot, this is where it kind of gets a little controversial, but I got Illinois, and then I got Ohio State.
Oh. Okay.
I took off Michigan.
That's you really did not like their losses to Illinois or Michigan State.
No, I did not.
Okay. So my number ones in order, I've got Gonzaga, Baylor. I still have Michigan in there. They're the number 3 seed for me, or the number 3 of the ones. And then I've got Illinois. I was with you when you had Illinois at the 3. I'm like, okay, I was close to doing that. Then you had Ohio State at 4, and I slightly disagree with that one because Ohio State hasn't won in a while.
That's fair.
Yeah, that was an interesting. I could have seen Iowa. Are you sure you didn't just get those confused? Iowa, Ohio?
I like Iowa. The only thing is I don't think they have everything to be up there, if that makes any sense. Like I have Iowa personally as a 2 seed. I think they could be a 1 seed, but I just don't think they're strong enough to be a number 1, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're an interesting team. Luka Garza, probably the best player in the country. He's probably going to win.
Yeah.
The Naismith, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Luka should win it. I mean, there's obviously some Zags in there too, but I think Luka is the front runner, obviously. So,
quick shout out to my boy McKinley right at the 4th for being snubbed. But no, Luka Garza is going to win it. And if he doesn't, it'll be a travesty. He just got his number retired, and he made some former Iowa players very upset with the decision-making process for the 55 getting retired, even though he surpassed all of the records of the other guy. His son said that he wouldn't be watching Iowa basketball anymore. I'm sure that Iowa will care deeply about that. Do you want to move on to the 2 seeds?
Yeah, I just looked at my bracket, and for some reason, I have Ohio State as a 2 seed. So we're going to need to fix that one.
So you have 2 Ohio States in there. I like it. So we'll have them on the top 3 lines. Yes, that's a little spoiler, but
let me just make sure I do this right here. Okay. Well, obviously I don't know if this is in order, but I got Iowa, I got Kansas, and I got Michigan, and then I need to figure out a third one. So I'll let you go first.
So I'll go 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got Alabama, Iowa, Houston, and West Virginia. West Virginia kind of stumbled a little bit. They should have beat Baylor. They really fell apart in the final minute and a half, 2 minutes of that game last week. That was a heck of a matchup. I mean, the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball this year. And I don't think they have a team. I'm not sold on Baylor. I really don't know I think a Big 10 team is going to win the championship, but the Big 12 is the best conference. And West Virginia is probably the weakest of all the 2 seeds. That's why they're the furthest down on my line. But they've got a good team. And man, I don't know. I think West Virginia could make some noise. I don't think there's any 2 seeds. Maybe Houston. Houston struggled mightily with Memphis and had to get a prayer at the horn to beat them to avoid overtime. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, if you're a 2 seed, you're top 10 in the country by multiple different metrics. And the Cougars are a very good team. If I had to pick a 2 that could get upset, it's them. And if you want to just go through and say which line we think has the best chance of having an upset, then we get to the 9th and below our best chance of having an upset. My 1 seeds, I would say, I think it's Illinois. Illinois is playing the best right now, but of the 4 teams I have, I think they're the weakest of those 4 teams. The top 3 are legitimate championship contenders, and Illinois is as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're playing the best of, I'd argue, all 4 at this exact moment in time. But they just seem that, I mean, there's a reason that it took this big of a push late to get them up to where they are. That doesn't mean they're not a good team. But if I had to pick one of those 4 1 seeds, it would be Illinois, and Houston would be my 2 seed that I'm picking.
Okay. I would probably go with Ohio State as my weakest one. I could see them, like I said, I think Michigan's still good and everything, that they could still be one. But yeah, I think Ohio State definitely, like you mentioned, they haven't really won it ever, have they?
National championship?
No, for their conference.
I don't know. They made the national championship game in 2007.
Okay, well,
so they might have won it in there, but
regardless, I mean, Ohio State, they're a big team. They got some big boys on that team. So, but I don't know. I think they could still be upset, and I don't know if they have all the tools there to go that far. But I think they're the most likely out of my 4 to be upset.
And what's lucky for you is that you can use Ohio State as your upset pick for the 1 and the 2 seed.
Yes,
they're both.
Yes, I have all the freedom there.
Yeah, you can. It's ambiguous. You, the listener, gets to decide what Blake means. Is Ohio State getting upset as the 1 seed or the 2 seed? We don't know.
I think I meant to put Alabama. Looking at my bracket now, but now I can't find Houston, so we have a problem.
Hey, no puns.
How to say it.
So bad. All right, you ready for the 3 seeds?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got Ohio State, Texas, Villanova, Arkansas. I'm not too sold on Texas, but they've been having a good year. And all of the experts have them on this 3 line, and we're not experts. So the reasoning I'm referencing them is because we used a lot of input from those guys in terms of making our brackets. We looked at the resumes. I, for one, looked at Ken Pom and Net a lot more than AP. I couldn't give less of a crap about a bunch of media members voting on these teams. I prefer statistics, and Texas is rated pretty high there. So I have Texas as my 10. Of the teams I think could be upset, it's Ohio State. They're not playing very well, and I have them as the highest 3 seed. If Ohio State was back into midseason form, first off, they wouldn't be a 3 seed. But I would think that it would probably be Villanova for me. Villanova is very good again this year, but they just don't feel as dominant. They feel vulnerable. They're having a good season, but it almost kind of feels shallow, if that makes a little sense.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Nova and Ohio State are my teams to watch in that line. To be entirely honest, I'm not sold with any of the 3 seeds.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I honestly think 4 and 5 are much stronger overall than 3. I think 3 overperformed this season, especially Arkansas. I remember they weren't even ranked about a month and a half ago, and they had a huge run that got them up to the 12, at least in my bracket. So I don't know. I really do not like the 3 line at all here. So I'd have all of them on upset alert. It really just kind of depends on the draw, because they're facing teams back in the 150s, 200s in Ken Pom. Not very good teams because they're the auto bids. And that's what you get for finishing the regular season well and getting to that 3 line. So we'll just kind of have to see how that plays out. Always exciting the first couple of days, Friday, Saturday in that tournament, just to see what you've got going.
Yeah, no, for sure. For my 3 seeds, I had Texas, Houston, Arkansas, and West Virginia. I think out of all those, I feel more confident with West Virginia and maybe Houston, but I'm with you with Texas and Arkansas. I'm not quite sure about them. And I could honestly see all four of these teams being upsetted pretty early on in the tournament, depending on who they play. So I don't know, maybe the 3 seed's just the unlucky seed this year or something.
Yeah, it's usually 12 over 5, but
Yeah.
that's you get typically, well, you do usually get a few at large bids at the 12 line. So who knows? We'll see what happens with those threes. Moving on to fours. We got 13, 14, 15, 16. I've got Oklahoma State, Kansas, Virginia, and Florida State. I think these are the teams that were very good throughout the regular season and either stumbled late or hit their stride a little bit later as well. They didn't peak at the right time to get a higher seed, but they're extremely dangerous. Kansas is the one loss for Baylor this season, and they're playing their best basketball at the right time of the season. Oklahoma State is a little weaker for me. If I had to pick one, they would be the team I could see getting upset. But Florida State is also kind of teetering on the edge of the 4-5 margin for me. But they've had a very good season, and I just don't like the conference tournaments. The conference tournaments really shouldn't have an impact on seeding unless you're on the bubble, because the good team, like, unless you go on a big run, if you get upset the first round, whatever. But if you put together a few good wins, and maybe that'll slide you up a seed. But I just don't love using the conference tournaments as like the end all be all.
No, yeah, sure.
So, like I said, if I had to pick one 4 seed, it'd be Oklahoma State, though, to get upset.
Okay. I got Purdue, Virginia, Villanova, and Oklahoma State. I kind of kept to what the ESPN Bracketology said for this one. And mainly because I think Virginia is a 4 seed. Like, they're a true 4 seed in my opinion. Villanova, they're just very unstable. They were really good earlier on this year, and then they had some pretty bad losses. So I think they could end up as a 4 seed. But then I agree with you with this one, with the Oklahoma State. I think the only reason why they're there is because they caught fire recently. They were like unranked for most of the season, and now they're all of a sudden a 4 seed. And also because they got probably the number 1 pick in the draft next year, which is Cade Cunningham. And I mean, they're a good team, but that's like, it's kind of like, it reminds me of like Murray State with John Morant a little bit.
Yes.
That's the kind of team I think Oklahoma State's going to be. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with them. It'll be interesting. I mean, from what ESPN has, they might potentially play Colorado. So that'd be kind of interesting. So, yeah, we'll see how far they go, but I think they're definitely the ones that could be upsetted. And I don't really know enough about Purdue, but usually Purdue's a pretty good program, and I kind of trust them being there. I mean, I could probably see them going down to like maybe a 5 seed, but I think 4, they're fine. So
5 seeds, 17, 18, 19, 20. I've got Colorado, Southern California, Texas Tech, and Creighton. Texas Tech last few years has just been, little would you have ever thought they'd be a basketball school, but same with Colorado, really.
Yeah.
And USC, 3 of the 4 5 seeds you'd consider football schools. So it's kind of cool seeing them. I don't have Purdue on my 5 or 4. I just don't think they're a very solid team. The Big Ten, I just don't know. I just am not a big Boilermaker fan here. If they want to go freight train over some teams in the tournament, then prove me wrong. But I'm just not entirely sold on Purdue. I have Colorado at 17, which is, they've been 5 seeds on most of the brackets I've seen, but lower on the 5 seed margin. I think they're legitimately a top 15 team in this country. They had bad losses to California, Washington, and Utah. Utah was their only home loss of the year. But the teams they've beaten say more than the teams they've lost to, because they're not going to face a Cal, Washington, or Utah in the tournament. They're going to face the USCs and the Oregons and the UCLAs. Those are the teams they're going to face, which is why I believe that Colorado will be underseeded even in my prediction, but I can't honestly justify until I've seen more out of them. And this tournament's a great opportunity for them. If they go out and win the tournament, they're likely going to go through. I think USC was the 2 seed, so they're going to they'd go Stanford, USC, Oregon, in all likelihood, if all the upper seeds win. It's interesting. I am a huge Colorado fan, like I've said multiple times already. And this is the most confident I've ever been. They're a really, really good team. They have who I would argue to be the Pac-12's best player, although the voters disagree, and McKinley Wright the fourth. They've got so much talent. Jaya Horn at transfer. Evan Batty is just a big body in the center there, and he can score. He hasn't done as much. He's been missing some bunnies at the rim. He's going to need to clean that up. But you have Jabari Walker. They're a very, very good team. And don't forget Deshaun Schwartz either. So watch for Colorado. If you're going to pick a lower seed to make a run in this tournament, like 4, 5, 6 line, it's Colorado.
Yeah, I agree. I think Colorado is going to be good. However, I didn't have them as a 5th seed. So
okay,
I'll talk about that. I had Texas Tech, Florida State, Tennessee, and then Creighton. The reason why I don't have Colorado as a 5 seed is because I think Tennessee deserves that 5 seed a little bit more. Tennessee's been really good all year. And I think they're still a really, really good team that could make a good impact. And I honestly think the 4 teams I picked for the 5 seed can go pretty far in the tournament. Texas Tech, like you said, they have a history. I mean, they beat Gonzaga. I'm not going to talk about that one. My freshman year, which sucked. But yeah, Texas Tech is great. Florida State is long. They know how to stretch the floor really well, and they got really athletic guys over there. Tennessee, I mean, I think they're just good. And then Creighton has had a pretty good year as well. I mean, nothing to really say bad about them. They've had a pretty good year. They've had some upset losses, but kind of happens throughout the year. So I think I have them there. And then I can go straight in my 6th seed because I have Colorado as a 6th seed now. The reason, I think Colorado, it's hard for me to put them at 6 because I think they could be a 5 or a 6. It's like they could switch
either
really easily.
Yeah. I've seen 20 and 21.
Yeah, but I think regardless, they're gonna make a good run. It just depends, like, you know, what side of the region they're on, in my opinion. So, yeah, I had Colorado as a 6, and then I had their rivals USC as a 6. Which I don't know if that's allowed or not, but we're gonna pretend it is. And then I had Oklahoma.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is. I had Oklahoma, and then I had Oregon. So I had 3 Pac-12 teams at 6. And Oklahoma, I think, is good. I mean, I don't really know how to really justify the other Pac-12 teams except that USC's having a good year. They have another lottery pick on that team, in my opinion. Oregon has been a pretty good team this year as well. But then again, it's the Pac-12, so we'll see where that goes.
No one really knows.
No one really knows. That's why everyone loves the Pac-12, right?
Yeah, especially those in it.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Oklahoma, I mean, yeah, I think they belong as a 6 seed. I don't see them anywhere else personally. So, but we'll see what conference tournament does for that. So, yeah.
If I had to pick a 5 to get upset, it'd be USC. I think the people like them way too much. I think USC in reality should be an 8 or a 9. But everyone loves them for some reason. It's because of Evan Mobley. They have a high ceiling because of him.
Yeah.
I've not been impressed in the games I've seen. Colorado is the best team, in my opinion, in that conference, and USC has been boat raced in both games. I believe Mobley's played in both games and got outplayed from McKinley Wright in both those games. That's kind of what I'm going off of there. For my 6 seeds, we got 21, 22, 23, 24. I'll go Purdue, the defensive stalwarts of Tennessee, who gave Colorado their first loss of the year back in either November or December. They're a good team.
They're good.
They've had really
and that's when they were hot
and
too.
Bad losses.
Yeah.
They were, I think, 8th, and they were top 15 when we played them. They got up into the top 10, but had some really bad losses there. I mean, not necessarily bad losses. Florida, one of their biggest losses, is a 30 on my bracket, but they got beat by like 20, and that's not good.
Yeah.
So I got then Wisconsin at 23 and Oklahoma at 24. You need to pick one to be an upset. Tennessee. I think Tennessee's a really good team, like I've said, but they just seem hit or miss. If they're playing their best, they're going to suffocate you in defensively, but it really kind of reminds me of Virginia Light. A couple of years ago, Virginia had their defensive seal burst against UMBC, and that was a 74-54 upset loss. I mean, they got killed, and that's the thing. Tennessee doesn't score a lot of points, so they need to suffocate their opponents. if they can get into a rhythm defensively, they could go to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. Who knows? They're that good of a team. But they haven't been getting in that rhythm. They've been extremely inconsistent, which is why they're a 22 for me. I think they could really make a run, but they're going to need to show something I haven't seen outside of a couple flashes this entire season.
Yeah. Move on to the 7?
Yep.
All right. So I have San Diego State. I have a WCC school in there, which is the Mormons, BYU.
That's your introduction for them.
Which, by the way, I feel really – actually, I don't feel bad, but BYU lost on a buzzer beater in the women's basketball game against Gonzaga in the WCC tournament for the championship.
And then they lost.
And then they lost again to the men's on the same day. So poor BYU fans.
Absolutely heartbroken.
This one's probably going to change just with the news that happened like an hour ago. But Clemson at 7, they lost just now to Miami. And then I also have Wisconsin at 7 as well. Out of all those teams, the best one, probably Wisconsin or San Diego State. But I lean more Wisconsin just because of their conference and who they played. San Diego State, I don't know what to say really much about them because they're an interesting team. They're really good, but they're kind of similar to kind of like BYU in a sense, I feel like, where they have a good record, but look at who they played. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't really know.
Yeah. So you don't really know, and I think that's the argument with BYU. I know a lot of people probably have them lower than a 7, but I mean their record and who they've played, especially playing Gonzaga 3 times now, I think they're going to be a 7. So, yeah.
So 25, 26, 27, 28. I've got Oregon, BYU. I think we have them slotted in the same spot too. Loyola Chicago. I've been extremely impressed with the Ramblers this year. And Missouri. People overslot Oregon too because they won the Pac-12 regular season. I think they played significantly fewer games than most of the other teams in that conference. So again, it's just so tough for me to correctly seed them because they had a higher winning percentage, but Colorado, I keep bringing it back to Colorado. They blew a game in Eugene, and had they beat them, I think they would have won the conference outright. So you would have. And Oregon just hasn't impressed me. They've never won a game in Boulder, ever. They lost fairly comfortably in Boulder when we played back, I think it was late December, early January. It was early January. But I just don't know about Oregon. So if I'm picking a 7 to get upset in a 7-10, it's Oregon. I just don't like them that much. I think there's a lot of upset potential there. Of the teams that are I think BYU and Loyola Chicago have the chance to go deepest into the tournament. I don't think BYU is particularly very good, but I think that they're underrated in terms of what they could be. I think Loyola Chicago is just classically underrated because they're in a mid-major conference. We saw 2 years ago, right? That was 2 or 3.
One of the best tournaments ever.
They ended up losing to Michigan in the Final Four in San Antonio. And they had like 3 upsets in a row. Well, I meant buzzer beaters. Obviously, they had the upsets. I think they were an 11 or a 12. But they had, it was an 11. I would have known if it was 5-12. But my point is that Loyola Chicago have built a very solid program there. And we shouldn't be surprised or afraid to rank them in the top 30 for a tournament.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. And I mean, like you said, they have a really good program. They've built it up since then. And I think they have a good shot at going at least decently far. Again, just depends what region they end up on, in my opinion. So we'll see.
All right. We're ready for the 8s, right?
Yeah. For 8, I had, let me make sure I got this right. So I had Loyola Chicago, and then I have Florida, and then I got LSU, and then I got UConn, University of Connecticut. Loyola Chicago is great. I like Florida a good amount. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna make it that far though. I like them though. I like them. I like them as a team. Same with LSU. I think they're pretty decent. But again, I think these 8 seeds for me, I don't really see them going that far. Personally, especially with like UConn, I think they're the weaker one in my opinion, and I think they could definitely get knocked off by the 9 seed pretty easily. Except for Loyola Chicago and maybe Florida. So that's all I have to say about them.
So 29, 30, 31, 32. I've got San Diego State, Florida, Clemson, and UConn. What's funny is you mentioned Clemson dropping from your 7 line. I already had them on the 8s. So they had a bad loss today to Miami. Clemson did in the ACC tournament. Again, like I said, I don't necessarily believe in dropping teams for like a first round loss, especially because they've had 5-6 days off, something like that between their games. And tournaments are just weird. You're at a neutral site. Miami has way more to lose than Clemson. So it's hard to really predict. Again, if we're picking a team that could be upset on the 8 line, I think I'll go equal parts Florida as them being the best team on the line and the team that has the highest probability of being upset. UConn is blistering right now. A lot of people are saying that UConn might be the team to make a run going forward, just because they've been that good as of now. And it just all depends on timing. You have to time it out to make sure you're peaking at the right time. If you peak in December and you're playing, Colorado did that last year. They finished the season abysmally, and I'm kind of glad that the season got shut down, because it would have been a very, very ugly showing for CU. I think they were the first 5 to ever lose to a 12 in the Pac-12 tournament. It was really bad, and I'm just using that to show the exact opposite side of things. UConn is the exact opposite. They're peaking at the perfect time right now to just keep going forward in this thing. And Florida reminds me a lot of Tennessee. They don't necessarily play the same style, but they're extremely inconsistent in terms of their ceiling. They're a 30 because they don't know how to put games together, but they figure it out in the tournament and they could be an Elite 8 team. I mean, that's just the talent they have. And of course, it depends on the draw they get in terms of the 1 seeds, because I think all 4 1 seeds are likely to be absolute buzzsaws. They seem so impenetrable. There's a few years where you see the 1 seed, you're like, oh, that's a weaker 1 seed. You don't think that this year. I mean, Gonzaga is typically the 1 seed you think that of. And they're undefeated, 25-0?
Yep, 26.
I mean, 26. It's they're the team you typically think to be the weak link, and they're undefeated this year. And of course, West Coast be West Coasting, but
be West
it's hard
Coasting.
to say. It's hard to say that any of those 1 seeds are going to lose before Sweet 16 maybe, but I could see there's a legitimate chance we have 4 1 seeds in the Elite 8, and there's probably albeit smaller, of an all 1 seed Final 4.
Yeah.
All right, 9 seeds.
All right, I have Virginia Tech, UNC, that's North Carolina, by the way, Missouri, and then I don't want to butcher their name, but St. Bonaventure.
There you go, the Bonnies.
I probably butchered it, but
no, you got it.
I think the strongest team in this one is Virginia Tech, and I'm not saying that because I like Virginia Tech. I'm a little biased there. I really do think that they could make a decent run. They play in a pretty decent tournament, conference. Maybe not this year though, because of Duke and UNC. But I think this is the one year they have a chance to actually make some damage because of that. So we'll see what happens there. I really like Virginia Tech. They've really improved, and they've been consistently a pretty decent team at getting into the tournament recently. So they have a good foundation. I think they have everything there to kind of get them up. And honestly, they could potentially become an 8 seed if they keep fire. So we'll see. But I think another team that you need to watch is their rivals right there, UNC. UNC is a little deceiving. I know they've had a really, really, really bad year considering
they're peaking.
But they're peaking. They're getting hot. And not to mention, I got to see this team play in person last year when they played Gonzaga, and they got some dudes on that team. I mean, I think it's Baycott. I think that's his name. He's one of their best players. I mean, they got 5-star recruits there. So it's not like you need to just let UNC out of the picture because of that, of a bad season. They got some guys that can play basketball. So I wouldn't count them out all the way yet. Obviously, they're lower than where they want to be coming into this tournament, but I think that they're a team to definitely watch along with Virginia Tech.
So 33, 34, 35, 36 are the 9 seeds. Virginia Tech, UCLA, LSU, and North Carolina. LSU, along the same lines of Florida and Tennessee, they have a high ceiling, but it just doesn't seem like they are putting it all together consistently. North Carolina peaking, but they've just had an absolutely terrible year up to this point. Crushed Duke, though, in their final regular season game. Virginia Tech seemed like the most stable of those teams for me. UCLA is Tiger Campbell, but I just don't think they're a very good team. Everyone has them as the best team in the Pac-12. I just don't see it. They split with Colorado. We swept USC, split with Oregon, split with UCLA.
Yeah.
And we played terrible against UCLA both times. And we lost by 5 on the road or something like that. It was a close loss. Mm-hmm. And then we got our 4th point of the game 8.5 minutes in. And that might have been the Arizona State game. We won 73-63 against UCLA, and we were down like 28-24 in the first half there. It was rough, and we pulled away late. I just don't like UCLA. I don't like them, and then I don't like them as a team. I just don't think that they've got what it takes to make it very far. We're now in the upset territory. If you set alerts on the NCAA app, you will get a notification if a 9 beats an 8 if you have upset alerts on. So if you needed to pick one 9 seed to pull an upset, I would pick Virginia Tech. I have them slotted with UConn, so it's kind of a buzzsaw for Virginia Tech. But of the matchups, I just think Virginia Tech is better.
Oh yeah, and I think they've been probably one of the better consistent teams that I trust, if that makes any sense, for a 9 seed. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens with them. But I guess for the 10s, if that's where we're going next, I've got Louisville, I've got UCLA, which we just talked about. I got Rutgers, and I got Maryland. And I don't know if that's in order because I think Maryland should be a little bit up there with the 10s. But out of those teams, I don't trust UCLA. I agree with you there. Rutgers, I'm not gonna lie, have no indication or any thought about them. Didn't even know that they were going to be a 10 seed.
You forget they exist.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Rutgers has a good team.
I don't really want to talk about them too much, but I will talk about Maryland and Louisville. They obviously have a pretty good history of basketball, so that helps them out a little bit. But I think, in my opinion, I would go with Maryland. They've had, again, decent season. Not necessarily maybe where they want to be as a 10 seed, but I think they're the stronger 10 seed. Other than that, I don't really have any more thoughts about the 10 seeds I picked because I don't really know a whole lot about them.
So Pac-12 first round, Washington State and Arizona State is going to come down to this. Wow. So Arizona State just scored with 11.6 seconds left. It's 60-59 Sun Devils. Washington State had the ball. So this is happening right now. It's 4:02 p.m. Mountain Time, something like that. It was 59-58 Wazoo. They got stripped with the ball with 35 seconds left. And Arizona State made a bad pass on the fast break and it went out of bounds. And then Washington State got tied up after the inbound and the possession arrow went to Arizona State. And Verdell, I think. Is that Verdell? I think so. Hit the shot for Arizona State. Running layup. That's Verge Jr. I don't know. They've played 23 games. Everyone else has played like 30.
Yeah.
Stupid Arizona State. I don't know enough about them. But yeah, they're winning. Funny. They're 11.6 seconds away from facing Oregon in the next round. But Wazoo's got the ball. So I'll give you my 10s right now before the inbound. 37-38, 39-40. Maryland, St. Bonaventure, Rutgers, Louisville. If I had to pick one to advance, I'm with you. It's Maryland. I think They're having a little bit of a slower year, but they're still Maryland. They've got that basketball pedigree. And St. Bonaventure is an interesting one to keep an eye on. Wazoo just got stripped. They're having a rough time with ball possession here. Arizona State will shoot free throws with a second left. So Remy Martin's college career will not
Remy
end.
Martin.
Well, I shouldn't say that yet.
I like Remy Martin.
I don't. No. I
You
think
don't
he's
like
a very
him?
good. No, he goes to Arizona State. He's a Pac-12 or he's like CU rival. No, I actually like Remy Martin. Was that Verge who got the steal? I can't tell. It was a motion blur. House closed very well for Arizona State. He's the one that got the. No, I just said Verge. He's the one that put them ahead. But yeah, Arizona State did a really good job closing. They're up 47-41. Yeah, Jalen House 6'5" here tonight. But yeah, like I said, Maryland is, my opinion, the best of the three. I could see Louisville doing something as well. But don't sleep on St. Bonaventure. When you see mid-majors getting at large bids like this, you know they're having legitimately fantastic seasons. Yeah. So don't let that get lost on anybody either.
Yeah.
All right, 11 seeds. This is where it gets kind of messy.
Yeah, it really does.
Was that a technical? What is Washington State doing? He's shooting free throws with no one around, so they had to have called a tech. And there's still time on the clock, so.
Oh,
because I think they get 2 free throws. If you get a tech in college, do you get the ball afterwards too? Well, I mean, it was their possession.
Yeah, they should then.
So 62-59 with a second left. ASU hit both free throws. I'm sure y'all are very interested. Yeah, because he was fouled, so he still gets another 2 free throws. What did you do, Washington State?
Probably like the coach or something.
Why would you do that? I'm assuming he was. I think they tried to draw a charge at the other end, and it wasn't called. He was stripped. Actually, no, he wouldn't have. But Arizona State was trying to draw the charge. I have absolutely no idea what they're complaining about. Absolutely none at all.
I'm looking at Washington State's record for some reason, and they're 1-6 against quad 1 teams. So
ASU is not quad 1, but if they were, they'd be 1-7.
Oh yeah.
Whatever quad ASU would be considered, they're going to drop.
Probably like a 4. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. ASU is weird. They never were able to hit their stride this year because they're so badly injured. So 64-59, we have our first team advancing in the Pac-12 tournament as Washington State, who upset CU in the first round last year, has been eliminated. Remy Martin, Arizona State will face Chris Duarte in Oregon tomorrow, probably 12:30 if I needed to guess. Couldn't tell you.
Well, it should be 12:30.
I think it is 12:30. Yeah, it is. Oregon, Arizona State's at 12:30. UCLA, Oregon State's at 2:30. USC versus 3:30. USC versus the winner of Utah and Washington is at 6:30. And then CU's on ESPN facing the winner of Stanford and Cal at 9:30, just past my bedtime. I'm like a baby. I'm falling asleep extremely early. So let's go to the 11 seeds. Back to our bracket prediction since this game's over.
I have Wichita State, Michigan State, Georgia Tech, and VCU. I think the best one in what I just said is Wichita State. Yeah, I mean, looking at kind of like a little bit of their statistics right now, which I just lost. Make a good point. Wow, this is embarrassing. Well, anyways, I think Wichita State, I think they've had a pretty decent year. I think they're the stronger teams out of those 4. Michigan State is interesting. Yeah, I mean, they could be a 12 seed. They could be a 13 seed, honestly, with how their year is going.
No, they can't be a 13. 13s are the AQs.
You want to see them try? Because they definitely could.
No, if they win the tournament, they're definitely not an AQ. Well, they technically be an AQ, but they might be a 10 seed if they win the tournament.
Michigan State's had a really tough year.
And they've come on so strong at the end.
It's very similar to like UNC and a lot of these teams that were supposed to be good. They're coming alive at the end, so it's a little scary, but they could be a strong 11. But I think out of those 4, Wichita State has that has those 4 teams ahead. So, or has those 3 teams ahead.
Let's see how I did this.
Oh, and by the way, Wichita
boy.
State's 13-4, so pretty decent.
13-4. Oh,
which
God.
is they haven't played a ton of games, but they have a really good record.
Okay, so my 11s are confusing me for a sec. It's 11. It's 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45.
Okay.
So I've got Georgia Tech, Michigan State, VCU, Colorado State, and Drake. I'm
Colorado State.
Still on the CSU bandwagon. I think they're an extremely good team. Losing to Nevada was rough, but I still think they're too good to omit them from the tournament. And I hate CSU, but I think they can't be slept on either. They deserve an at-large bid out of the Mountain West. I guess in this scenario, Drake would be my first 4 team. So I'll just go straight into my 12. He just dropped 3 songs. They were all good. So 12 seed is 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50.
Okay.
Xavier, Wichita State, Boise State, Winthrop, and Toledo. So Winthrop and Toledo are our first AQs.
Okay.
So the first 4 would be Drake versus Xavier for the 11 seed, I guess. And then Wichita State versus Boise State for the first 12. No,
okay.
What am I looking at? 1, 2, 3.
I think isn't it 12s and then 16s?
No, I am not crazy. There's an 11, a 12, and 2 16s. I know which way. So.
Oh shoot! Well, I might have screwed that up. Let me double check.
I do think it's Drake and Xavier. I have no idea what I did. I messed something up.
Well, we're gonna roll with it.
Because it got messed up. I was following the format
okay.
Lenardi had over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
and he
I don't have a 14.
Something.
I'm missing a 14 seed, so
that's right.
Somehow they
never
left
found
the
it.
tournament. Yeah.
Well, Wichita State was missing for me, so I slotted them at 47.
Okay, there you go.
So maybe I want Boise State at 47. Maybe I messed that up.
Okay.
So I have Colorado State and Drake, and then Xavier and Boise State, and then Wichita State as an AQ. Maybe that's what I was going for. I really don't know. We'll say that's what I was going for, though.
Okay.
To pick pick teams that I would say have an upset chance. Michigan State on the 11 line, and then Wichita State on the 12 line. They're kind of a question mark, like you said, but they're playing well right now. They're 13-4. Getting to the tournament, the Shockers can shock some people. If you can make stupid puns, I can too.
Okay, for my 12s, I got I don't know if this is gonna be right, and maybe you're gonna judge me for this, but I got Utah State versus Xavier.
Okay.
Then I got Colorado State versus Drake, so we can look at that one. And then I got Winthrop. I'm gonna say this wrong. Winthrop, and then Toledo. Don't know anything about those 2 teams. Sorry. I agree with you. Colorado State is undervalued a little bit. I don't know how legit they're going to be, obviously, because they're a 12 seed, but I hope that they can win and beat Drake if they play them. That'd be really cool. But I do think that Utah State will find a way to get into this tournament. I know they're right now projected to be the first 4 out, right?
Yeah.
The last 4 out.
Last 4 out are like the 350s.
Yeah. I think Utah State can do it. They're usually really good at basketball. They usually can make a good case. And I'm kind of riding on them to win it out over the other teams. So we'll see what happens there. But I could also see Boise State. But I don't know. I think Utah State's got a little bit more to it. So we'll see.
Utah State were a top 4 seed the year Loyola made it to the Final Four, right? I think Loyola ended up upsetting Utah. Was it Nevada or Utah State? Utah State and Nevada were both really good.
They're really similar, yeah.
They were basically the same team.
Yeah, basically.
They were both top 20. I think they might have both been top 5 for seeding. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. I'm interested.
Yeah.
13 seeds, though. We got more AQs. So to be entirely honest, we have a few automatic or teams that have already qualified, but these are essentially,
Yeah.
at least what I did. I just followed what Lynn already had because there's no point. I didn't find a point in trying to predict who's going to win the conference tournaments. They're absolutely ridiculous. So the 13 seeds are 51, 52, 53, and 54. I've got UC Santa Barbara, Western Kentucky, UNC Greensboro, and Liberty. I think at bare minimum, 3 of those teams have already qualified for the tournament. I think UC Santa Barbara. I know Western Kentucky and UNC Greensboro have as well. UC Santa Barbara is the only one I'm not sure of.
I'm not sure about that. I know Liberty has too. So.
Yeah, they for sure, because Northern Alabama was transitioning, so they wouldn't have even been able to get in if they had won the conference. Yeah. But Liberty won it anyways, avoiding Northern Alabama getting to put a banner up, but not playing in the tournament, which would have sucked for those kids. That would have really sucked. But of those 4, I think Western Kentucky, they've been playing well.
Really?
I don't know why not. It's a 13.
Yeah, why not?
It's a 13. And we said that our was it the 4s that we don't like, or is it the 3s? Our 4s were I think we liked our 4s a lot better than 3s. So the next one we'll get to predict which teams get to beat the 3s though. So I don't know. I like our 4 seeds. Of the 4, I think Western Kentucky might shock them. I just like the Hilltop.
Okay.
So if anyone's gonna win, I think it'd be cool if it was them.
Okay. I had the same exact teams as you did. But I think that Liberty has the best chance at surviving. Okay. So just looking at what they've done this year, 19-5 on the season, undefeated at home. And they're a pretty decent sized school, so they can do it. So I have faith in Liberty. So we probably lose first round, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what happens.
We get 14s now, though. We get
yes.
55, 56, 57, 58. I've got Colgate, Morehead State, home of Kenneth Fareed, Southern Utah, then Cleveland State. I think Cleveland State's, I know the Vikings have punched their ticket. I think they have at least. I'm not sure about the other 3, but of these 4, who's going to beat a 3? Who we got beating a 3? Oh, no. What did you do?
Oh, no. I'm just saying, oh, no, because this is the one I don't have I'm missing a team.
Oh, that's right. Which of our 3 seeds gets a bye? Maybe predicting a COVID outbreak.
The one team I'm surprised you didn't say, and I know maybe one of our viewers might not like, is GCU is not
that was on
one
purpose.
Of your 14. Was there a reason why GCU is not a 14?
I don't think they're a 14. They're out of the whack. They're just, I don't know. They played well against Arizona State, who's not a very good team. Mm-hmm. They lost by 10 to Colorado, but again, that's like Colorado playing their absolute worst and then still winning by 10. So I don't know. They played 2 decent teams. Not decent. Arizona State's not very good. Colorado was the best team they played. And they still lost by 10 in a game in which Colorado played their worst game of the season. I'm just not sold on a team coming out of the whack. I don't know. I mean, the whack is terrible. I could see them getting upset. Really don't know. But it's just, I don't know. I don't think they're a 14 to me. They're not a 16. I have them 15, but I think I do at least.
Put another point in your case. You could also argue they've only played 18 games this year. So
yeah, they're what? 12-6?
Yeah, 12-6.
Are they?
They had one quad 3 win, and then they went 11-3 in quad 4 and 0-1 against quad 1, which I don't know who the quad 1 was. But anyways.
WCU.
Oh, okay. So there it is. And they had a good road record though. They went 5-1, 7-3 at home. Grand Canyon though, I mean, they got a few, I think this one transfer into their school this year, and he's having a good year for them. I mean, they have a good basketball culture down there, so I could see them doing something good in the tournament. I had them as a 14 personally, going up against, looks like Houston for me, which I think is what one of our viewers was saying he wanted to play with Houston. But I don't know if GCU, I mean, with most of these 14 seeds, I don't think they're going past the first round, but I think GCU definitely can get in the tournament this year. And I think
watch out for Utah Valley though. Utah
Yeah, I
Valley
mean,
split a
Utah
share of the
Valley, yeah.
whack with GCU. They beat them on
Yeah.
the road on March 5th before GCU beat them the next night to split the
I mean,
title. But Utah Valley could beat them in the championship game. If they get there,
yeah.
watch out for Utah Valley because I could see them coming
And
in and
I think that's
stealing.
what it comes down to is, I mean, obviously you have to win the championship game. So we'll see what happens.
Yep, totally agreed. Yeah, like I said, it's difficult to forecast any of the 14s getting an upset victory. But
Yeah.
I like Cleveland State, the Vikings.
Oh,
Might as
yeah,
well just throw
Cleveland.
them up there for why not?
I
The
watched that game
15s.
last night.
I watched Gonzaga.
I
watched.
did too.
Did the Avs play last night? They
lost
did.
to the
They
Coyotes.
did lose. Oh, that's right. I watched the end of it, but was really mad at
Yeah.
altitude because they still have the announcers ahead of the game, so I have to like not watch. I can't listen with sound. Really makes me upset. That's like the one thing I don't understand. Altitude is a mess. This is why I refuse to support the. This is why I refuse to take sides in cable companies versus altitude. How do you not have the announcer audio at the same time as the? It breaks my brain, but it is what it is. So 15s, we have 59, 60, 61, 62. We've got Bryant, Grand Canyon, the Siena Saints, and the Drexel Dragons out of the Colonial. Drexel's going to get absolutely destroyed. I'm a little upset. They beat College of Charleston by like 8. I don't know. Well, I know why, but like at this point, I have no reason to continue cheering for CFC, and I still like them. So I was upset they lost. I still have a file on NCAA 10 of them in the national championship against Duke, so I need to finish that one up. But again, the game's accurate. Duke was in the championship that year, but College of Charleston wasn't. But I took over them. So we got Bryant, Grand Canyon, Siena, Drexel. I don't really know too much of these teams outside of Grand Canyon because that's the only team CU played. I just don't think any of them are very good. If Grand Canyon is probably the best of them, that doesn't exactly say much. It's like the Rockies being the best of the teams that are 5th in their division, which they aren't. They're probably better than at most Pittsburgh, but you know. 16's where it gets fun. So if you want to go share your 15s.
Oh, yeah. I got Colgate. I got Siena. I got Cleveland State. And I got Oral Roberts. And I know Cleveland State is one of the lower ranked ones out of these 4. But I think Cleveland State has got this. They're going to be the best.
They've got this
15th seed in losing in round 1. So
okay.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Cleveland State. I just like their logo. I like the school. I got to see them play last night. They got great energy off the bench, and I don't know anything else about the other teams. So go Cleveland State.
Forget Cleveland State. Portland State is where it's at. Former Broncos tight end Julius Thomas went there. I have a Nike t-shirt from Portland State. That's probably the most random basketball shirt I ever had.
Yeah, it really was.
Because it's entirely predicated on a Broncos player playing there. Had I gone to Portland to visit my cousin like a year earlier, I wouldn't have got that shirt. I wouldn't have cared. But because we went 2013 or 2014, Julius Thomas. So 16s, we have 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. Sorry, Ben. It's not an extra team there. But South Dakota State, Nicholls State are the 2 AQs that just get into the tournament. Yeah. Hartford will play North Carolina A&T. I believe that's how that would work. And then Prairie View A&M will play Appalachian State. Appalachian State, first time since 2000.
You think that
they're in the tournament. Okay. But so those are the 4. So we got North Carolina A&T and Hartford in one first 4 game, and then Appalachian State versus Prairie View A&M in the other. Nicholls State, South Dakota State get into the field of 64 comfortably. Of the 4, it's not even a point in forecasting, but who knows? Appalachian State won their tournament. Obviously, all these teams did. They're playing with fire right now. They're cooking with it. Let's see what they can do. I don't really know. All the 16s. Nicholls State is in there, which is kind of fun. I don't think they want to be called Nicholls State, but I think they're just Nicholls. I know that's what they want to be called for football, so I refuse to ever call them Nicholls State. I remember I went to a game in like 2016 against them, and they had in the media guide for the game, "We are Nicholls, not Nicholls State." So I made an effort to call them Nicholls State every chance I got. So that's what you get for being picky.
For mine, I kind of just went with what Bracketology said. I got Mount St. Mary's, NC, and T playing each other. Then I got Prairie View versus Appalachian State. And then the other two, obviously Nichols and then Hartford. So,
Hartford, okay.
Yeah, I honestly
Mount
don't know
St.
which
Mary's
the
already
best one.
clinched, right? So I messed that one up.
I think so. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, so they need to be in my field. They're not. That's like
That's
I said,
okay.
I didn't update it. I was using an old bracket thing from.
I will say, I feel like Prairie View always makes the tournament as a 16 seed.
They always make it, but it's as a 16, so they lose by 25. Imagine like that's the best deal you could get as a student, like a student athlete, because Prairie View is not exactly an elite basketball program, but you get to go to the tournament like every single year.
Yeah, you pretty much guaranteed, and they get to play Gonzaga and get their
tuchuses kicked.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Gonzaga actually played them. When was the last March Madness? 2 years ago, because there wasn't one last year. I think it was two. I think they did play them. Yeah, and I think they won by like 30 or something.
Yeah, that checks out.
So we'll see. Maybe there will be a Virginia situation going on this year with Prairie View.
I'll give you the first four out and the next four out. So 69-70, 71-72 for the first four out. I've got Syracuse, Utah State, Memphis, and Ole Miss. And then 73, 74, 75, and 76 the next four out. Seton Hall, SMU, St. Louis, St. John's. So late in the year, if you're in the next four out, you likely need to win your conference tournament. I think Seton Hall's already out of it, and St. Louis is as well. But you're going to need either a lot of luck.
They're really out.
ahead of you losing, maybe some good luck from the bracketologists, the committee there. But if you're first four out, you got a chance. I know Utah State's still in it, Mississippi, Syracuse. I'm not too entirely sure about Memphis. I don't think the American Conference tournament has even started yet. But they first four out, next four out. It's kind of, I don't want to say set in stone, but the selection's less than Thursday, Friday, less than 4 days away at this point. It's 3 days, 23 hours, 30 minutes. Actually, technically 22 hours because we lose an hour on Sunday.
Oh, there you go.
But, so we gave you an hour. We're that much closer to seeing the brackets.
I will say, I think, like I said earlier, I think Utah State will somehow find a way in. But for my first four out, I got Boise State, St. Louis, Syracuse, Memphis, and then next four out, Ole Miss, Seton Hall, SMU, St. John's. I think Utah State's the only realistic one, in my opinion, that could get out of there. So we'll see. Yeah.
We'll have to see how that all goes. I think that's probably it, right? We were here for the bracketology. We weren't going to do any predictions. That's maybe if we want to, we could go up next week, something like that. And
we'll do predictions because I think it'll be a lot better to see the bracket.
We'll actually have a bracket. Yeah, we'll actually be able to visualize these things and compare head to head instead of having to look at the analytics to even put them in the tournament.
It was fun, though. It was fun. It was
hard,
but
fun.
It was fun.
Exactly. You had to really think about it. Nothing was easy. I mean, it was easy. You could have just copied the bracket makers, but if you really wanted to make it hard on yourself, it was different.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to do this. I know we had some scheduling issues, me falling asleep at like 10:30 on Sunday after the NBA All-Star game being one of them, and you going to Idaho at 5 a.m. tomorrow being the other.
Tomorrow with no service. It'll be fun.
It sounds terrible. At least I don't miss the NCAA tournament. Did you schedule around the West Coast tournament?
No. We have
it just kind of worked out that way.
We have a 4-day weekend and we have tomorrow off. So thanks to my school, I guess.
Well, I have a 4-day weekend too. We just have to shovel. Yeah, so shout out Colorado. It was 70 yesterday. It's 55 today. We're going to get literally buried. We're going to get
like 4 feet.
2 to 4. Right? 2 to 4 feet. Yeah. It's going to pass the blizzard from 2016, which I'm not ashamed to admit I remember nothing of because I was in Glendale, Arizona, wearing a Paul Konerko jersey at a White Sox spring training game. Love it. March 23rd, 2016. But then the next one was March 17th through the 20th of 2003. That was like 3 to 4 feet of snow down here. We probably won't get that. We'll likely be closer 1.5 to 2.5. but if my bosses are listening, cancel the games on Saturday. I'm not going to go anyways. I'm not driving in that. But you need to cancel the games and plan ahead. I am warning you now.
Anyone should do anything.
This is going to be bad.
Yeah.
The weather is throwing you a bone. When will you ever have an easier option, an easier choice? This is going to happen. Plan ahead. I'm begging you. For the sake of you guys and the employees, because you're going to scramble and the employees are going to be absolutely screwed in the next week. So just plan ahead. I beg of you. I'll help you do it. I will sit on a Zoom call on Friday before the CU game and plan it out with you. But I'm not showing up on Saturday. You can do it if you want, but I'm not going to be there. I'm not dealing with that. So you can figure it out. I can help you out if you want, but Colorado, stay off the roads this weekend. We're going to get like 5 inches of snow overnight on Saturday, as is. I saw it last night. It might have changed. We already have a winter storm watch. Not a warning yet. When the storm starts happening, we'll get that warning. But we're able to be about 8 inches during the day Saturday, 8 inches during the night on Saturday, 8 inches during the day on Sunday, and about 3 inches or so overnight, 3 to 5 inches. So it'll be right around 30-ish inches if it hits the high water marks, 1.5 feet if it's low water, right around 22, which is what the mean models we're looking at. So if we get 48, there will be some places that get 48. I don't think it'll be here, but the ship is not sailed. We could get 48, could get more. We do not know yet. It's checking all of the boxes for this. I'm a meteorology major if y'all haven't figured it out yet. But it's checking all the boxes for this to be an absolutely massive storm. Got the moisture from the Gulf, the warmer springtime temperatures to fuel it. It's cyclonic out off the coast of California, Washington, Oregon. This is going to be big. So we'll leave it with that. So for Blake Fry, I am Trevor Blatnick. Thank you for listening to our Bracketology special. So we'll get this up and we'll get you our actual bracketology, our bracket predictions, and we might even have more people. We do not know yet. I've got nothing to do on Monday, believe me. So we'll figure that stuff out, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.